The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the GallowgateShots YouTube channel and podcast, live with the Always Smiling Faces podcast.
And we're still smiling.
We're still smiling, always smiling.
Always.
Always. Tell you who's not smiling.
Oh, what's up, group?
Other than that,
I don't know, mate.
dear Christopher.
Oh, I know, yeah. Oh.
So, yes, you're stuck with me hosting tonight because Christopher, the other guy, isn't feeling too well. So tonight there's just me, Decker, and Bestie.
Oh, yeah. Get well soon, Chris.
And that. Can we write him off this week? Like, since you've killed me at least twice this year with
the
various ailments.
Champions League week, there's always someone with a bit of a... It was me, the PSG game.
That's right.
You for Dortmund, and now Chris for... who's at Milan this week. There's always someone who's kind of a bit touch and go. Late fitness test.
Touch wood, am I right?
Deckers hope we'll get through to the final 12. So it can just be the next one.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. That's what we do get through.
Yes, well, it's big week, isn't it? Milan coming up tomorrow.
No.
What day is it? Monday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
We've done this every Monday for
That's
6-7 years.
I'm thinking the Champions League games are Tuesday, but I'm thinking of away games.
Yeah, I
we've
did
had
that for
them.
What was it? Other game last week, I was convinced it was a late kickoff. Or the Milan game, the PSG game, I was convinced it was because they're all been early kickoffs.
Yeah.
They're all been 5:45 kickoffs, the away ones up until that point. So I was like, oh, I'm right, I've got loads. I'll kind of get this done and go afterwards. I can sort that out. Go on the radio afterwards on a Tuesday night. And then it was like last minute, I thought, oh, shit, I can't do that anymore.
That was a weird time, that 5:45 business. Like,
they do it all the time, but
good,
it doesn't. Well, I suppose latterly it has been more for the English clubs as well, but I'm glad it was the away games, not the home ones.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming that was on purpose.
Yeah.
It'll be the time difference as well, won't it? Like in Europe with the timings over there.
They're an hour or two ahead.
Because they're an hour or two, depending on how far over you are.
I put it ahead though, so it'll be even earlier for them. Oh, no, they won't.
No, because it was like...
Yeah, but pardon,
yeah.
Excuse me.
So like 6:45, 7:15 over there or whatever. So yes, but it's been a big week for Newcastle in other news in the last week. So since we sat here last Monday, we've had 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't gone that well, have they?
Well, we're not used to... We haven't been used to this, have we?
I mean, we should be used to it, but not recently.
Yeah, I think both performances have felt very old school Newcastle. Like they really have. You know what I mean? It's been a tough watch. It's been tough on the eye, like, and we've had a pacing like on both games. And we hate getting beat off Everton to start with, so that was awful, absolutely awful. Which I'll probably touch on. And then Sunday, it didn't get any better at all. So
I thought the Everton game wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't a 3-0 game. I think was it 79 minutes when they got the first?
Yeah,
it was. I mean, I was there. I was down there, my mate, and we at half time he goes, "We're going to nick this," you know. And as soon as he said that, I thought, "We're not nicking it. Mark, going to knock the castle with a cup over there, my mate." Fair warning.
Well,
but
can't say that.
No. I thought, but the second half came out quite well, and Gordon had that chance where he robbed Tarkovsky on the edge of the box and then kind of just side-footed it straight at Pickford. Had a couple went over the top. Isaac had one that just went wide, and I thought, well, it wasn't necessarily a case of if there's one team that does this, but I thought we probably edged the second half, and then Trippier had like a meltdown for 10 minutes, and that was that. Like that was put the game to bed. But Tottenham yesterday was for me totally different. Overall, we got beat by 3 goals, so in that regard, identical. We just, apart from maybe 5-10 minutes in the first half, with that one where Davis put his foot through on the chance that Isaac was about to have.
Great challenge, yeah.
Really, really good, massive that, because we go 1-0 up there and it's a totally different game.
Totally different, yeah.
And then, again, just defensive lapses, which our kind of success, such as it has been over the past couple of years, has been built on being a really solid, reliable defence. I mean, losing Pope doesn't help, but the goals were conceded. I mean, all 3 at Goodison. And I don't like digging Trippier out, but I mean, at full time he was in front of us and he was apologising, and Richie came over to him. Graham Jones did. Tyndall did. Loads of them came over to Trippier and kind of put their arm around his hand. You know how it happens. But you could see Trippier was gutted. Like he knew. Everyone knew. But and then yesterday, mistakes again. Lascelles for the first, Trippier for the second, De Bruyne for the third, and probably haven't just seen it again. It's maybe a bit harsh to blame him for the penalty as well, but he is a bit slow to come off his line. So they're all individual errors.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think that the Trippier one, obviously, if we'll just quickly speak about Thursday, it was awful, wasn't it? It was so uncharacteristic, and I felt so sorry for him. I really did, because he's been absolutely tremendous. It's been a really tough week for him, like because obviously we'll touch on the Tottenham game in a minute. I know individually you can point at errors, and I'm more than happy to do that, and we will do that. But I just thought, like,
we're not about that, Tiger.
No, well, we're not. But when we're
Maximin doesn't play for anymore.
When we individually talk about the goals, we're obviously going to say, God, what's he doing there? He should be doing better. However, I mean, even look at that fourth goal. We've just watched it back again there. The way that on Sunday they were just going through a midfield. It was literally just one passing, they were just in every single time. But I even though I had that chance early on there with Isak, and it was a fantastic clearance or touch on the ball, you could just tell, couldn't you, even in the first 5 minutes or so, I was like, God, we just don't seem the Newcastle that we are. That energy that we just didn't have it. We just didn't have it. And we'll come on to how maybe we can adapt, Mark's favourite word, maybe adapt around that. I don't know if there has to be a few things which will come on to that I'm maybe thinking, but it was a really tough one on the eye on Sunday. Like, and I've just done the reaction with Darryl, sorry, apologise, the preview for the Milan game with Darryl and the lads. And I mentioned like the word worrying, and I don't like to use that word because worrying means it's, oh my God, we're in a massive issue. It was just a bad performance, wasn't it? It was I don't want to say I'm not worried about it. I'm not saying it'll be like every single week, but it was a really bad game yesterday. Like it was.
I think people are probably kind of taking it as because we've had two defeats come, and when you think about it, it's heavy defeats in a very short space of time.
Oh yeah.
So straight away, it's, you know, people are hitting that panic button, which is very unlike Newcastle fans to do that. But when you do go and have, as you say, against Everton, who you never want to lose to, and then you follow that up with a defeat away to Spurs, it's tough to take, especially when you're getting them that close together.
I think, I mean, the points being made that we've played the same 4 times in a row in the Premier League now, and I think there's been at least one Champions League match in that run as well, and maybe even a cup match, actually, you know. So there's been like a domestic league cup match. So there's been a lot of, and it's weird because we're saying the same thing whenever they get beat, they're knackered. And I think they are knackered. I don't think it was a good performance anyway yesterday. I think even with with a fit team doesn't play like that. So, and you've got more of an outlet, you've got options. So I think it's just taking its toll, basically. It was awful yesterday, but it's kind of with mitigation. I don't think, I mean, Eddie Howe won't have it, will he? He's said in press conferences that, oh no, we're not going to use the tiredness as an excuse.
Well, he never likes to use excuses, does he? He always analyses what's happened and look at reasons rather than trying to blame something.
And there are reasons, but again, like I say, Trippier's form. Trippier, if you remember, had that run from Wolves until a few games. I forget.
He had a stinker against Liverpool, I think it was last season.
No, I mean,
again, and that's testament to him. You can count on one hand the amount of bad games and the time that he's been here.
100%.
He had that. He had the run from Wolves to. There was a couple of games where he just wasn't at races, and he looked at it then, and he went away with England, came back, didn't, and it's just kind of the lads are desperate for a rest. How many games has he played over the past 2.5 seasons? But I don't. He had that little injury to start last season, but apart from that, he's playing every game for England as well, as I say. Yeah. Ideally, he would have been, if not rested, at least kind of in part. Maybe he's playing for an hour, then play Livermore for half an hour, and then you've got if Dan Burns fit.
I thought Livermore looked absolutely shot to pieces as well. To be honest, he looked nowhere near the player that we know he is. We've seen it week after week, really. The point I was going to make towards the end, but I think we've almost came across it now, is like when the players are as tired as they are. I know how we won't publicly come out and say that, and I respect that. I do, because nobody wants to hear excuses, right? But we're not daft. We know the problem. We know that they're shattered. Also, I have to say as well, even though I hide behind that excuse a lot, you can't always hide behind that excuse. You can't constantly just keep saying, they're just tired, lads, they're just tired, they're just tired. I would also say is, if the lads are tired, right, and how can see that, I don't always feel you can go into the game playing the same way. Like, you can't, if the lads haven't got the energy, you kind of go, right, lads, we're on the front foot, we're going to press on the front, sometimes you do have to adapt and maybe change your style of play a little bit, like, because you can see we're trying to do what we want to do, but because we haven't got the legs. Gordon was absolutely shot to pieces yesterday.
Yeah, it was not
in the whole, I understand what we're based on and what our philosophy is and what we want to be, but we can't do that every week when you're playing with the same 11 players.
And do you not think, Bestie, that that's maybe a lot of the complaints that fans are making is that Newcastle are crap, that they're just not doing the things that we expect them to do? But as Decker's just pointed out there, the tiredness, the fatigue stops you from being able to do that.
It does, and I mean the way Tottenham play as well. Tottenham have got a very similar style to how we play when we are under Ange Postecoglou, and that's what they did yesterday. They pressed really high. They were kind of incessant. It was hard to, like, I had the little one yesterday. He was out with Alfie, and I was just kind of, but he was watching kids and climbing on us and that. And whenever I looked up, if I had like a little kind of, I'll whatever, get you a bottle of juice, I'd look up and Tottenham on the attack again and again and again, and it was, like I say, incessant. So I think, as much as I think it's right that Newcastle just don't have the fitness at the moment to do that, to play in that way, the fact that Tottenham did have it and put it, and Tottenham were great yesterday. Oh. And this is a team that hadn't won in a long time.
In fairness, Everton did it a lot during the game as well. Yeah,
Everton pressed high. That's something point I was going to make. Actually, Shea got caught with the ball fairly early on. Joe Linton lost it in a couple in the first half. This is, and you could see that was kind of their plan. They know that one that did. And they're just getting that way, and that's what teams will do, you know. Yeah. I was looking at the injury table thing today, and we've got Willock, Barnes, and another one back fairly soon, like this side of Christmas, yeah. And then after that, you've got there's another couple. I forget who it was now, but you've got 5 or 6 big uns due to come back. Dan Burns one around Christmas time. Elliot Anderson, who is now, I'm not saying he's like an automatic first teamer, but he's
your option, isn't he?
He is, yeah, and he's a good player, and he's proved to be a good player. So
you're hoping that they don't, because these lads have been, certainly Barnes and that have been out a long time. I honestly, I just think the games, certainly that Spurs game, it was just 100 miles an hour, and very difficult for someone coming that back in the team that's been out a long time to just go right, like, go on, kick on, mate, crack, go on. And I just think that's really hard to do. Like, but having said all of that, having said everything I've just said there, it is amazing that we're going to have these players coming back because they can rotate, they can have 45 minutes here and there or whatever. You know?
It'll not be like an immediate impact as well, because you've still got to get the other lads who are going to be knackered.
Yes,
give them a couple of weeks to get themselves kind of rested properly, and it's going to be a tough. Still, even if everyone came back now, if you click your fingers and everyone was fit again now or available again now, it's still going to take a couple of weeks to get them up to speed. To get the lads who are knackered, Gordon might need a week or two off, or at least like a half-hour appearance here and there. It's going to be a big a transition almost to the start, and obviously that FA Cup match, I kind of shake it from my mind. That's creeping up.
I know. Well, I think as well, we've had games with the same 11 players, but we haven't even been able to make a substitution. No, they've literally played. We're talking 98, 100 minutes sometimes they've been playing because of the bloody injury time.
I was reading.
So you know what I mean.
I think it was Athletic today where it said we made 2 changes yesterday, and averaged 2 minutes each. I was good as maybe average 2 minutes each. And that's the thing. We're making changes late in the game, and we're making them. Yesterday was a bit different because Wilson played a bit. I was concerned. Wilson Longstaff, I thought, because it's been out that long, I'm thinking like, just if they're not right, just leave them. But obviously Wilson made the goal. Their centre half should have been sent off for stamped on him.
Yeah, well, that could have led to a serious injury. To be fair, could have, like, but
2 nibbles.
It was a
he's a nutcase, isn't he?
I can't believe they didn't, because look at it as well.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of it made of it at the time with obviously the commentators looking at it. They were convinced that it would go to VAR and it would be given a red. After the game, it was talked about a lot.
I didn't hang around afterwards.
So, but even kind of in the press and stuff like that, it's been mentioned. I've only seen one person say that, well, other than Tottenham fans, obviously, saying that shouldn't be a red, and that was on Ref Watch on Sky Sports, which again the pundits that are there couldn't believe that he was coming out with there, but it was a naughty challenge.
It's a funny one, there's a lot of times I say they shouldn't. I sometimes say slow motion makes things look worse. Yeah. I actually think in real time
it looked worse.
It looked even worse. Like at full speed, it was a horrendous challenge. And listen, that wouldn't have had any impact on the end result, but that was a terrible challenge, and Wilson could have been seriously hurt there, and that's obviously, of course, the last thing we need.
Oh yeah.
But I think Longstaff as well. Like, I think I've said this a long time about him. He's a bit like Joe Linton. When Joe Linton comes back, he needs minutes to get, and that's because it's really tough to come back in at that level. It's so hard. So I thought he struggled when he come on, and that's fine, by the way. Like, it's minutes under his belt, and he'll get better. I just felt, again, getting caught in possession and just falling to the ground and think, I need a free kick here because I've got nowhere to go. And that's credit to Tottenham because they were just up for it, weren't they? They were pressing more like mad. And
it's good to have Wilson back, though, because certainly in the last 2 games, you've seen that Isak looks like he's struggling for fitness, and the games are getting to him a little bit.
I don't think he's looked fit since he came back, to be honest with you. He's looked a little bit off the pace, I think.
I probably agree. I also think he does struggle a little bit on his own up front, sometimes. And we'll never change that because it's the way we'll play. I just think Wilson, and I love his side. I mean, goodness me, there's not many better with his feet. There was a few moments at the Everton game, man, where he's just going past players like they're not even there. Of course, he's got it. I'm certainly not criticising Isak here, but I do love having the option of Wilson because he's just an arsehole up front, and he'll stick one in and he'll hold the ball a bit. He's more aggressive, I feel. So to have that option, and we're seeing last season how many times they would swap and change, right? And Isak will grab a goal, Wilson will come on and grab a goal, and vice versa. So.
Either this season or both of them, I think they scored 6 and 7 respectively or something. And Wilson, I mean, he came on yesterday. He was the one that got fouled for what should have been a red card. He put Joe Linton through for the goal. He should have scored himself a bit later on.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's made it straight away. He's like
massive impact. Yeah.
It's just the experience he's got, and like you say, he's an arsehole. He's our,
I'll say nuisance a nice word, isn't it?
Yeah, but
there's a discussion point to be had later on that very point as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, good point.
But I just at Baden. I mean, I was saying to before you got here, Mark. Like this time last week, we were top of the form table. After the start of the Champions League, it was 10 games. Something we were top of the league in that. So it's only been 6 days.
Yeah,
5 days.
It's
been a mad old week.
We've got beat 7-1 on aggregate, but then we scored the last goal and all them. So maybe things are starting to.
The emotions that you feel as a fan, like it is mad, and I never ever try to overreact. I try my best not to. But like I only go back 5 minutes ago. It feels like you're beating Chelsea. We'll beat PSG away. In my opinion, we'll beat Man United, and you think, God almighty, like the same lads have played 3 games in a row. We're doing really well, and you've lost 2 games of football, and it feels like everything is, and that's me maybe overreacting, but like it feels so bad, right? You're getting hammered over 2 games, and you forget of all the success and how good we actually are. And obviously, some fans really react to that, and the players will be feeling it as well. And it is only 2 games of football, like really, it's 2 games.
Even at the start of the Tottenham game, I was really apprehensive because of the Everton game.
Yeah, I know,
because of how that went. And even again, I reiterate, that was about 15 minutes at the end, or 20 because of injury time as well. And even then, we did have a couple of goals. Like so, it's weird how that can colour your kind of you're thinking of a whole.
Yeah. We're going to go through the Tottenham game, sorry, because I was going to reference them, but I'd rather not interrupt. And if you want to go like
go for it. If it's
well, obviously I do want to reference obviously the first half, the chance for Isak was, and Miggy also, by the way, he also had a very good chance with a good
got caught on his feet, didn't he?
Yeah, it did, yeah. And of course, people are losing their minds on Twitter about that. He gets a lot of shit, him, doesn't he, Miggy, all the time. Every time I lose, he gets
again. That was on my list.
Sorry, right, we'll come to that. Now. I just want to fast forward. We can go through the goals if we wish, and we can. The second half, I thought we started really, really well. And I thought if anyone looked like scoring, I felt it was us in the first 10, 15. I really did. And I thought, God, we've really come out the second half well. We're keeping hold of possession really well. I thought we looked a threat. The third goal is an absolute killer. And that doesn't take rocket science to know that. But I didn't think we were dreadful in small moments, and I would have to say the second half when we came out, I thought we reacted really, really well, and that was a positive. I felt.
Yeah, I did think that.
But other than that 10-minute slot, maybe of course the rest was dreadful. Like, but we did show signs in the second half. I thought we kept hold of the ball well, creating a few problems. Them looked a bit nervous, and I thought, we've come out really well here. And just that third goal, and the third goal hurt us more than any of them, if I'm honest. It was just that to me was going back years. It was an awful goal, wasn't it? Goalkeeper, the cells, it was horrendous. And the game's over then, of course, when that one goes in.
We do. I mean, because I think that second half was the reaction that you were looking for. That when we've talked about these games, it's almost been missing at times. But we did come out and start brightly at the second half and take the game to them and look much more like Newcastle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we did.
Counted for now.
Yeah, we did. Thanks.
No, we did. We looked all right. And it's again, you've always got that thing in the back of your mind. At least I have when I'm watching the game, thinking at some point they're gonna. I thought during the Man U match that at some point Man U were going to turn the screw here. Just waiting for it, and Man U weren't. They were just hopeless. But Tottenham, it was just even during that period, that third goal was so deflating. Because it was, like you say, it was bad defending. The Brav guy's in no man's land. He kind of gets caught between staying on his line and coming out. And in the end, if he'd done either, would have been better than what he actually did. And And it was
if he stays on his line, I don't think we're in any trouble. He's touch of shit, really. The touch he actually does takes him almost away from goal.
Oh no, this is the third one. It was a header, wasn't it?
No, the third one was.
Oh, sorry, no, pardon.
So obviously Lascelles gets caught, and
see where it lands between him and Dubravka.
And if Dubravka just stays on his line, the touch takes him even really further away. Though I don't think we'll have any real problems. I honestly don't think. But just given where Dubravka's positioning is, it's all of a sudden a golden opportunity from almost nothing really.
It's an open goal because he started to come in and stopped.
Yeah,
and he's neither here nor there. And it was a bad decision, that one. Like
it's like you say, it's that old Newcastle, and of course it's two of the players that have been around for a number of years, and we've seen that.
Do you know why it stood out so much in my mind was the even in the dark old times, we had moments in the game where we look kind of good, and I'm like, hey, we're doing all right here, and then something like that would happen. You go, we'll go again, and that's what I mean by it felt that way to me anyway. It was just
it did seem to then kill us at that point, because the lads almost thought, well, we're chipping away, we're playing well. As you say, Tottenham were kind of dropping off a little bit, allowing us some chances there, and then you just saw the heads drop at that point.
Yeah, Tottenham as well. Listen, they were fantastic, right? And we know that they're playing good stuff on him and all the rest of it. But they do, obviously, they're so aggressive going forward. You could see in the first half the amount of times, if we had to be more clinical, or maybe what's the word? Maybe on our A game, we could have been 2 up. Yeah. That's and listen, I appreciate there'll probably be Tottenham fans if they are, well, we could have scored 10, and I'm not disagreeing with that fact either. But they play such a high line and they're so aggressive going forward. That move for Isak's potential chance was a wonderful move.
Yeah,
and we'll rip them apart, and you can do that to them. You can.
There was a chance where it was very reminiscent of Gordon's goal last week, where we got right down the right, got to the byline, and just flashed it across the goal, and you had, I think it was maybe Isak and Gordon, or maybe even Wilson at that point, that was on, and it just didn't get across, and Gordon's there just with an open goal and a tap in. So, as you say, we were getting into those spaces and creating it.
There's a little bit of quality at times. The one where the Miggy's chance, I thought, I forget who played the first ball. Was it Gordon or Isak? Or Isak to Gordon. It was behind him. Mm-hmm. You think if that's just a slightly better ball, maybe you're further forward, he hasn't got to turn on it and take it. You can play it straight through. And then, I mean, Miggy, it wasn't the finish of a confident. Calvert-Lewin had a really similar one last week, where he was kind of shooting across the goal, and we were laughing. Maybe he's shite him. The chances he had last Thursday, he could have put.
He's missed another sitter yesterday, but he ultimately scored from it.
I've not seen anything yesterday, but he was the header he had, and that one like put over the top. I think they had easy chances. Them like any centre forward worth his salt, putting them away. Like
when you go to places like Spurs, right? Like Miggy scored 2 there last year. Am I right in thinking?
One.
Well, both.
One. Sorry,
that was something that I seen today. Is that last season we won away at Goodison and away at Spurs.
Yeah.
And in situations where Everton were taking the game to, we would probably weathered the storm a little bit. We scored some couple of late goals to win it. Spurs took the lead early down there, held out, and
Miggy scored
again,
from almost the same position. Almost, he did it himself, he blistered past the.
Even the one last season, Loris probably should save it.
I agree.
And Tottenham and Everton last season weren't the teams they are this season.
No.
If I'm right in thinking it was Lampard managing Everton this time last year, it might have been early in Dyche's reign. And it was that I couldn't even tell you who the manager was at Tottenham last year when we beat them down their place and at home. That they are better sides than we. I think we're a better side than we were then as well. But they've just, for us to improve that little bit, they've kind of gone whoop, and we're not that as well.
Them also.
And it's the opposite. It's almost. The reason I mention that is it's because we're almost in opposite situations at the minute. Whereas we've got the extra games, we're carrying all of the injuries.
Yeah,
Spurs are fresh.
They've got a lot of injuries as well. Tottenham got 9 or 10 players.
Yeah, they've kind of came back into it. They have had injury issues, and you may be looking at they've been on a bit of a poor run of form recently. But you go back before that, everybody was raving on about Ange Ball, how brilliant they were, and all of that kind of thing. So you sometimes just have a bad game, and it's just from our point of view, you've had 2 in a week.
Yeah, we're going to be sitting here this time next week if we beat Milan. And then we'll beat Fulham. It's Fulham at the weekend, isn't it? Yeah. If we win those 2 games,
free score.
If we win, even if we draw Milan and beat Fulham, we're sitting here next week. They're happy. What a team we are! We're 6th in the league. We're into the last 16 or in the Europa League, whatever. And it's all not forgotten about, but it's kind of like, oh, well, that was a blip.
Yeah,
it is a blip. I've got every fear that's what it is. It might be a blip that goes on a bit longer, because as I say earlier, the lads are tired, and the blokes that are coming back aren't just going to be able to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
you know, because the way we play, I remember how last season I referred to this a lot of times about Isaac saying that he's fit, but not Newcastle fit. He's not fit enough to play for us yet. He needs an extra little bit of time, and that's going to be the same. Harvey Barnes coming back with a broken foot. He's got to trust his foot. You know, he's not just going to I know he should just run it off, really. But if you do something like that, your feet, your ankles, your legs, you're thinking about it. So it might take him a little bit of time to kind of, this is what I can do. And the same, I mean, Willock's come back twice now, broken down again. Yeah. And I think he's a bit later in the month.
Obviously, as well.
Murphy, I think January, I think he's due back, Murphy, apparently.
They're big losses, aren't they? When you're naming them like that, you think, just maybe not even for starting the game, right? It's just to have them fresh legs to come on and have them options is huge, isn't it? Now,
quality as well. It's not just, I agree. They're good quality footballers.
Absolutely right, yeah. What I do want to reference is I've never asked you this question, right? Like, there's a lot of crying on social media of, we're complaining of tired legs and blah, 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 and how doesn't bring on the likes of Dummett.
I was literally just going to mention that when we're talking about the option of having subs and stuff like that.
And now I don't ever want to criticise Eddie Howe, right? I don't. But I have to say, I do sit there a little bit and go, you know, you could maybe bring on Kraft if he's really struggling, or you could play Dummett centre half because Lascelles cannot walk, because he can't. He's really in trouble. He's limping all the time. And listen, maybe I'm just because we're losing games, it's easy to say, well, play him. I'm not saying that necessarily, but they are really, really tired here.
Yeah.
Like, could you not maybe squeeze one of them in?
I think for me, Thursday night we were crying out for substitutions in the second half. Yeah. You know, we've already talked about Trippier and the issues that he was having, and I get from Howe's point of view, he maybe doesn't want to be seen to howk him off when he's putting in a bad performance, and whether that'll knock his confidence or something. But he's got enough experience to know that he's not having a great game. He's knackered. Let's just get some fresh legs on there.
Yeah.
Same again on Sunday. We were crying out for changes. When that third goal went in, we were done. Yeah. You saw heads drop. You saw people doing, and he did make changes, admittedly. They took a little bit longer than that, and he made more changes than we've seen in any recent time. And he'll probably point to the fact that, well, he's got a stronger bench this time because players have come back. But it's not necessarily about needing to have stronger, better players for a change. It's sometimes just getting, you know, a fresh bit of energy on there, somebody just to help show things up. Because for me, both of those games, and I absolutely love Kieran Trippier, but he needed to come off just for himself. We've got, as we've already mentioned, we've got a massive game on Wednesday, which, you know, is probably more important in the grand scheme of things than the last two games that we've looked at, if we want to kind of go there. What we've got coming up, and it would have just been so simple. Like you say, we've got Kraft sitting there, Lewis Hall, who I think I'd never see in a black and white shirt or blue shirt, as it was happened, ever again. But he came out on Sunday, which was a strange one that we haven't seen him at any point.
And given how depleted we've been as well, so depleted.
Yeah. It's a funny one with Hall, because I know I'm out you when we got him. You're like, and I've never. And I don't want to dig players out on here, but I've not seen anything from Hall yet to suggest that he's the answer, like long term at left back. Like, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. I hope he's. But he seemed to, like, I was watching the game yesterday, he seemed to chase the ball a little bit at times. I came inside when he didn't have to, and I don't know. I'm really, really reluctant to have a go, and I'm not having a go. But I've not seen it yet with Lewis Hall. Like,
and he hasn't played a lot of football though.
Yeah, he hasn't.
I know, but the two games he's been pulled off at half time.
Well, the Bournemouth game was a poor one.
Man United, he played well.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
Yeah. Yes, and that was a game where Target got injured, wasn't it? So he had to change position a little bit. Yeah, he did. He did. In fairness, he did play well that night. He scored a great goal as well, actually.
I think that obviously PSG away, we didn't make a single sub, and I think every single fan understood why. You know, we had to just hang on in there and keep the set. And I get it. I don't understand the game.
Best players as well for that one. That was, and I agree.
Best we could. Yeah, the bench was shocking in that particular game. I think we had 10 keepers, so it was terrible. You know, but I just feel. You're rolling out the same players week after game, 5 games in a row, whatever it's been, other than you keep changing through injury, of course. I just feel sometimes you could lean on them maybe a bit quicker, especially when you're 3-0 down. Just listen, lads, we've got a massive game Wednesday. The game's gone. Yeah. We're not going to draw 3-3. I have no offence here. I don't mean to sound defeated, but I'm just a little bit surprised that he hasn't made changes maybe a bit earlier.
Yeah, I'll get that. Again, I was a little bit, I wasn't expecting Wilson and Longstaff to get as long as they did. I thought, I agree when you've got like Richie, Dummett, Kraft on the bench.
Who are experienced players.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the young lads, I can understand not wanting to bring them because they're young lads and they haven't got that experience at all. But Dummett, Kraft and Richie, Dummett and Richie in particular, how many games have they got between them? Must be going on for 500 or something.
Now, listen, I've sat here and I've said not the nicest things about Paul Dummett, right? Let's be fair, right? I don't know him as much as Chris does, but you look at the Man United away game, right? Dummett played, it was unbelievable. Was the Man City at home? Apologise.
Well, Kraft and Dummett got a song out of that performance.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to do it every week. I'm not stupid. However, I'm going to say this again. Lascelles looked hurt after the Everton game, in my opinion.
He was definitely hurt against Spurs.
And he was definitely hurt against Spurs.
The advertising was that they really made a thing.
He was struggling massively. And I thought, right, just time to bring on Dummett, move Shea to the right centre half and bring Dummett on. That's surely going to happen. No. And
even Kraft, who came in and even centre back on the right side as well.
And I appreciate it's a difficult environment. We're not playing great. It's difficult to bring a sub on. I get all of that, and I do. But again, looking at Wednesday, and he will be, and I do, how we'll be thinking Lascelles is the player that has to play. Like, he's be starting centre half, except because of Botman's injured. Protect him a bit, because you cannot run him into the ground for 90 minutes, because you want him to play 3 days later. He cannot walk. He physically couldn't walk. You could see it, but I'm near one, of course. I know how he's much cleverer than I am. I'm just saying, my opinion.
Yeah, and look, you've got to give credit to Tottenham, because they, we can point fingers at our performances, but they were very, very good. Particularly Son, I thought, had a fantastic game. Recalson, who I cannot stand, had a fantastic game with his movement and stuff like that. So it was difficult for the back four to deal with that. And
it wasn't just on the back four either.
No,
the midfield was non-existent.
For me, that is where we got it wrong the weekend. And Decker, you said something earlier that had been in my mind kind of from it, and I almost look at our away performances this season, and we kind of just take these 2 games in isolation, because our away form is pretty bad this season. And I just think that when I look at the games of what we've done, particularly away from home, and certainly the last two games, more so yesterday, we are massively missing just somebody that can get a hold of the ball, break things up in the middle of the park, and I don't know whether Tonali's the answer to that, because we haven't played him in that kind of position, but it almost gets my mind ticking to a name that isn't going away in the last few weeks and probably most of the season. We know we don't have a natural defensive midfielder, and I just feel, for me, that's something that we really, really missed in these away games. And it's a change that I think we need to make, but we don't necessarily have the staff to be able to do it at the minute.
I was waiting for you to say Calvin Phillips there, because he
said
the
name,
but didn't actually.
That is the name, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, according to well-sourced people on Twitter, it's he could be playing against Sunderland in the cup. When he, I think it's kind of accepted that it's not accepted that he is going to sign. I was reading this weekend that Man United seem to want him as well. And then he's got a decision to make, because if they want him, he doesn't need to move house or out. He's just sent there, but then would Man City let him go to? There's all sorts there. Like
Leeds lad as well, play for Man United.
Alan Smith did the same.
Didn't work out very well for Mr. Smith, did it?
Did he win a Champions League?
Well,
that's quite well.
I meant on a personal level.
I don't think he did. I think he was paid for us by that point. Signed for us in 2007. But yeah, we do need something. I think we're missing. It was a funny one, because it's 2/3 of what a lot of people would say were best midfielders at the minute, and Bruno, Joelinton, and Miley. Is it? I mean, again, I'm not going to start fingering young players, as it were.
Advice against that. Players. Didn't work out for that lad down the road.
It didn't either. But I mean, is it the case that maybe Miley's inexperience has kind of caused a little bit of the? And I've been very impressed with Miley. Don't get us wrong, but is that the thing that you need to change? I mean, when Longstaff's fit, he's playing alongside Joelinton and Bruno, isn't he? I mean, there's no.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But when he's back on them, and Willock's back, it pushed him. And Miley's been, I think, for what I've seen of Miley, certainly before this last week, I think he's been excellent.
Brilliant.
Really, really good. But yeah, it's kind of, is that lack of experience kind of something that cost me yesterday? I don't know, maybe it is. I don't think, I mean, as I say, I don't want to take players out. I've kind of mentioned half the team for like who didn't look great. Even Gordon, who I love.
He looked shot, didn't he?
He looked
just looked shot.
There was a great bit of Goodison. I don't know if it was on the telly or not, but we were singing Anthony Gordon. He left because he had shit, and they had a free kick right in front of us in the corner. And the referee was sorting something out with the goalkeeper, so it was a good minute or two before it got taken. And we were singing it, and he was just like stood there nodding that way. And the Everton fans said, "Oh, right, that's like and he was kind of having a good laugh and that, like, and it really got under their skin. Obviously, they won 3-0, so they had the last laugh, like, but did they? See how the rest of the season goes, yeah. Like, but no, that was it. I love that. I really love the team. There's not a bloke in the squad that I think I wish he wasn't. Like, you know, in the past, you look at the squad and think like, oh, it's a bit shite him.
I think
he's not even trying. But like,
yeah, I totally agree. But
this is it's a squad. Like I say, it's a blip. We'll be fine, man.
It was just unlucky that everyone had a bad game yesterday. Like, to be fair, like you can't. There is moments, in, games where like he might not play very well, but Bruno will be absolutely singing. Gordon will be absolutely amazing. Mickey might be poor. You can live with that. The problem was everyone was poor yesterday. I do want to say I thought Joe Linton, for all he gave the ball away a lot, I did think he really tried to put a shift in. Like, he was closing down, he was tackling, he was chasing. I thought he was the only one, in my opinion anyway, that on the eye really did give it everything. Well, it looked like he was giving everything. Yeah, he just lost the ball a lot.
He looked a lot better when he moved back over out to the left as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I think he was one. I think this time last week I was saying he's kind of looking back to his best. Joe Linton, and he is. I think it took a little while after his injury. We mentioned how long it's going to. Oh, actually, Joe Linton that you mentioned. It did take him a little bit of time, and it looks like he's. I mean, again, he lost the ball a couple times with Goodison, but he is a grafter. He's like a set of lungs. He's all lungs and muscle.
Defensively, he's fantastic off the ball. Like, in terms of getting back into the position and putting out a fire, he's really great at that. Like,
that he scored as well.
That was a great finish. As well.
Now it is. You see a difference in him from when because obviously he got his first goal for the same goal, same end, Tottenham Stadium. Yeah. The difference in him is that the size of now compared to then. That was what 2019, so 4 seasons ago, and he's twice the bloke now, and it turns out a very, very good footballer.
I love him. I do. And of course, there's loads of moments in the game I did go, Joe Linton, because he lost the ball or whatever it was. But I think collectively, overall, there was watching that game. There's a lot of times I was going, go on, Joe. Like, there was more times I felt I was shouting for him, going, well done, type of thing. You know what I mean? But it was just an awful day at the office, like awful day. Really was. It was shit.
It's good of you to stick by the lads and support them through it, though.
I have.
There was a thing on was it 5 Live? I saw an Instagram reel earlier in the day, and it was about the away fans. And I've seen our fans criticised by our fans away. On Twitter today, people saying that it's been crap all season, and Goodison wasn't great, to be fair. Like, but I forgot what the commentator's called on 5 Live now, and he said it full time. Like, the fans were still there, they were singing the players. They've been beaten 4-1 after the game. Yeah. The bit where they're kind of filing out and that, and they said they're playing whatever they're playing on the town. Newcastle fans were singing and dancing and getting behind them. And he was saying, like, it's what football fans should do.
Yeah.
Like, they're going there, free from desire.
They're getting behind them. Was it free from desire? It might be actually. He says, like, they're getting behind them, that they're actually, like, and that's why Eddie Howe's quite happy to take him over there. And can you remember, like, St Mary's when John Carver had to come and tell people to calm down? And so even I suppose who was it who Trippier had a fight with a few weeks ago?
Bournemouth?
Yes, I think
Bournemouth away, yeah.
And that was like, and I think the support has been a bit funny at times this season. But it's nice to hear that when they kind of get recognised by people who go like, oh, the fans are.
How also referenced that on the NUFC TV interview after the game. He said, I'd like to thank the fans because they applauded when the players really needed that at the end of the game because we've let you down and blah, blah. So even how sort of referenced that,
especially given the ball that people are getting down here yesterday.
Absolutely,
that wouldn't have been lost either.
Absolutely,
Darrell's still on his way back, isn't he?
Bless him,
he's doing the preview from the carriage first class.
Yeah, and that's that will have a massive impact on the away end. The trouble of people getting there. There's I lost count of people that couldn't make it because of trains being cancelled, having to go via the West Coast and stuff like that. So, which again has led to ticket debates out there in Twitter about being able to pass on tickets, etc., etc. But we've talked about that a hell of a lot in the recent weeks. So
so that's a long way away from being kind of resolved. I don't think that's ever going to end. That ticket argument, because they'll change it. If they change it to something else, then there'll be someone else who'll feel that they've been outcast. So it's
arguing for another day. I think that one.
Although having said that, if they're getting 7,000 tickets for every away game, that might help.
Well, let's hope there's one away game coming up soon that we get 7,000 tickets from, if rumours are to be believed. But on that matter, let's get some more questions into the chat if you want to talk about all things, because I'm sick and tired of talking about defeats.
Yeah.
I could have finished talking about Tottenham game like half an hour ago. To be honest with you.
Well, I mean, you summed up perfectly the Everton and Spurs game in the first 5 minutes. We could have probably just called it quits there, like, to be fair, and went home. Yeah. It would have done, but
I'm a lot more miserable now. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I know, but it's just it's a difficult few days, because these defeats and the manner of them, just it brings out everybody's bad side. And, you know, as you've said, Decker, it gets people onto players' backs. We've seen Almiron coming under pressure because he's not scoring, he's not assisting, but all he's done is had 2 chances and failed to take them. And the rest of the game of things that he's done has been forgotten about in that.
Yeah, well, Isak never gets touched. Never gets touched and mentioned or anything. And he's been just as poor as anybody else. And I like Isak. And I have no problem with Isak. I'm just saying it's funny how it seems to be the same names after a defeat that always gets mentioned. It's just strange, that one, I think.
It is. But let's get on to some happier things. And Toby is straight in, and I think this one, Bestie, is right up your street. And he wants to know if any of the lads are going to Bistro Greg's at Phoenix.
I've not been there. I know a few lads that have been. Looks very nice, actually. But no, I've
very fancy.
It does look quite fancy. I've not been myself. I don't expect that I will do either, unfortunately.
What do you make of that, Decker?
Well, I didn't even know it was there. So was it on the advert, like, for the partnership thing?
Oh, they've had a full-on partnership, yeah.
Well, I watched half of it, and I was like, fair enough, and I turned it off, if I'm honest. So there's a Posh Greg's in there, like.
Posh Greg's.
I've seen one of the Instagram accounts. It was like a steak bait with like an asparagus thing next to it.
Well, I'll go in Wednesday before the match, definitely. I'll go in on Wednesday before I go to the ground.
I think it's like actually like you sit at a table.
That's a sit-down meal.
I'll be in there
on a plate.
I just want
silver service,
sausage and bean melt. Or have they got the Christmas ones on the go yet?
Festive, yeah. Well, that is the special main course. You get a festive bake with like Daphne's potatoes and like a full veg, some sort of reduced down jus.
Have you
over the top of it and stuff?
I'm on about Tory Greg's, but the normal one. So I find that mad, right? When you get a pasty or something, and it's like, I don't know, £1.20 or something, and then to sit in, it's like £1.55 or something.
Hot food tax.
That's insane. That, like, isn't it?
I don't do it every time, but I've started getting the frozen ones from Iceland.
Oh, I've never done that, but I've seen them.
They're good, like, I've seen them. It works out cheap. Like festive bakes, instead of paying £2.50 a gun.
Yeah, I don't.
You get a pack for like £3.50.
I mean, I don't eat well either, but I mean,
during
the week, I'm a good boy normally, and I wouldn't. I mean, dinner, I would never go and get a pasty and that. Like, that's just not as much as I'd eat 10 of them, but I'd heartburn.
Only ever on a Friday, have the 5 aside for me.
Oh, okay,
I'll get one on the way back.
Fancy a festive bit, like, think about them. Like.
Yeah, nice. Like,
well, there you go, Steve. There's your food topic for tonight. Greg's.
Do you see what I had last night?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you've muted the group.
Boycott.
He's muted the group. He's muted the group. Do you see it, didn't you?
Yeah. The bolognese.
I can imagine you on your Sunday nights.
I couldn't even see the pizza.
It was that much kebab on it.
That much kebab and garlic sauce on it, like, yeah.
There's a pizza on these.
Bolognese, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
No, my problem with bolognese pizzas, I've mentioned this to you before, is that if you
not just parmesan.
No, it's not that. You slice it up more and you get the triangle. When you bite it, there's no purchase between the cheese and the
I'll give you
base,
that. Yes,
so the whole thing, the cheese just kind of comes off and does that. You're left with a very nice bolognese slice, but it's not. You've got to eat it with a knife.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Have you had the one from Gills before, the Nook?
No.
Oh, well, mate, there we go.
There we
go. Just honestly, have one there.
Oh,
unbelievable, mate. It got me over the defeat. I was so happy. I felt terrible afterwards.
I'm surprised.
So terrible. Sorry.
Calorific old engagement, that like.
It's unbelievable. So it was a 14-inch bolognese pizza. I think the pizza
40-inch,
14,
40
inch, 3.5 foot.
And then kebab meat on top of all of that, and then chips on top of all that, and garlic everywhere. Oh,
anybody watching this?
Any cardio?
Why are we the fat ones when he eats this?
I've been to the gym today as well. I won't mind going to the gym for half an hour once every 4 weeks. Probably isn't going to be that much of a difference, like. But
it's sickening the things that he puts away. This isn't a weekly basis, ladies and gentlemen. This is almost daily that he'll have 3 pizzas and a kebab.
What has puts it away?
Or he'll have... but he's getting wider. That's probably why he's sick.
He's sitting at home like Henry VIII. Top off, gorging himself in bits of chicken and that.
But honestly, your metabolism is ridiculous.
It's insane. I'm only 40 as well, you know. Yeah. It is surprising.
You don't really exercise either, do you?
No.
It's sickening.
outrageous, like.
Absolutely sickening.
No, I didn't.
See, this is why I don't like him.
That's fair.
But yes, let's get through some questions. So straight in with our good friend Josh, who has sent us a donation, as he always does, because he loves us and we love him. And he says, "Hi lads, hope you're well. After watching footy on Amazon Prime over the last week, it got me thinking, do you think the Premier League will one day stream all matches via their own app? We've seen it with other sports, e.g. the UFC and WWE." And he
I've
says,
just lost a lot of respect for Josh with those two examples.
The last one sickened you, didn't it?
WWE's
To the core.
I do agree that them are slightly different because them have got the most up-to-date show. So if it's Raw on a Monday, you can't actually get that on the app for 2 weeks. So it's still broadcasted on TNT or whatever. However, the pay-per-views, though, they are straight on their streaming platform, whereas back in the day, you had to buy them. So
is that because you can watch it online on the pay-per-views?
That's correct, yeah. So you would just tune in on the app.
The one I would like, and I've thought this for a few years now, the kind of the app or the what do you call it, program that I would say would be the most effective one to copy be their Game Pass, the NFL one. I believe MLB have got a similar.
That's what I've got.
I know you've
got
an MLB man, like.
Yeah.
But the Game Passing, you get so many games. You get team focused kind of stuff. You get the NFL Network channel. You get like all the documentaries, Hard Knocks, and
all of it.
Football. What's it? Football Life and all that kind of. It's a really, really good. I hate the word product, but you know what I mean. It's put together well and all that. When I had it, it worked really well. So, and I've thought this. I would assume, I mean, if you charge a couple $100 a season for that, people would pay it. I reckon. I probably would. And that, would you get more in by doing that than you would do from the Sky, TNT? It's good thing. The problem is, it's not just Sky and TNT making these deals, is it? It's Dazn and
it's
Optus, and it's worth a lot. But it would be
$7 billion Sky's paid, isn't it? Because it's now until 2029, isn't it? That Sky you've got, and they're putting on 4 games a week, aren't they? Guaranteed, and all. It's going to be great. Like I think
75-80% of all the games are going to be on the telly, which is
it
from a convenience point of view, it's great. But as a fan, and we always complain that I don't think we had a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff until about a month ago this year, and it's like it was November at the time. So
playing in Europe's not going to help on that regard. I do agree with what you're saying. I do agree that it is a bit.
But a lot of the games were selected for TV anyway.
Very true.
But Sunderland are the same. Sunderland, me mate John, he doesn't live over here, in Spain a few weeks ago, but he was saying they've not had many 3 o'clock kickoffs at home on a Saturday season because I was in the box. And that's
because the lads are recovering from night shift, so they have like a later kickoff.
I'm not going to answer that one, mate. But they've got an equivalent thing where because they're Sunderland, and Sunderland are, by championship standards, a bigger club. Mm-hmm. They're on the box loads, and I suppose Leicester could probably say the same thing, and Leeds, Southampton, teams that are in the Premier League very recently will have the same thing.
It's frustrating on a Saturday though when I put my bets on that, and I'm like, there's 3 Premier League games at 3 o'clock. I'm like, what the hell's that about?
It's like, but the thing is, I don't like the idea of them. They've got the 3 o'clock. What's it called? The blackout.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of them abolishing that because I think, I mean, the reason for them doing that is, for people that don't know, it's to kind of support lower leagues and non-league football. So I think the argument is that if we had I know people got it with IPTV now and stuff like that. If people, instead of going to the match, sat and watch it on the telly instead, then they wouldn't be going to a lower league match, or they wouldn't be, and it kind of deprives them of money, which I think is a pretty noble argument, to be honest with you, Ray. So I think the only answer to that would be, if you want to show every game, then you come to the Premier League, you don't have Saturday 3 o'clock as being a kickoff time anymore. That would be the only way for me around that. Make it a later thing, or make it Sunday afternoon or something. And I'm not saying that's what I want to happen, but I think that's the only, if you want to show every game and not affect the lower leagues and kind of people going to see Hebburn Town or Heaton Stan or South Shields or whatever, North Shields getting big support as well. I think that would be a way around it. But yeah, it's I forget what I was talking about this now. Well, the app thing. Sorry,
no, you're fine.
But yeah, I think if we're going to do it, how they do the NFL Game Pass app, and you could still do that. You could still do that and still have your deals with Sky and TNT or whomever, and still have like documentaries, because obviously Sky produces loads of documentaries. Premier League Productions have got loads of stuff going out now. I don't know why they haven't done it. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't done that yet, because it would seem to be a very easy way of monetizing stuff they've already made. Like there's documentaries they'd have made 5-6 years ago that someone would probably pay a $5 to watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, the MLB pass that I have, I get it every year for the Yankees, and it's unbelievable, man. Like, it's 135 quid a year, but you watch every single game, home or away. It's absolutely amazing. You choose either commentary you want, it's brilliant.
The difference is, though, you're not in that country, are you?
No, so that's what I was going to reference, is that if I was in that country, because when you click on the game to watch it, the map comes up first to see if you can actually watch it or not. Because to mention what Bessie said, you could have an app which is a subscription, but it would still be on ESPN. So if you were in that particular place in America, you wouldn't be able to watch it on the app either.
Game Pass does that as well. If it's a game on Sky, you can't watch it.
Whereas we're amazing because we're not in that country, so you can watch every single one. However, to answer the question, I am surprised that, well, I was very surprised Prime had nothing on it, like, because Prime haven't got any games moving forward, which that stunned us, because I keep thinking once these companies get a little bit of the pie, they want more and more. I thought Apple would want more. I honestly did. So I was surprised when I seen them come out that Sky have basically got more than ever.
For me, Prime's been the best one to watch as well. I've enjoyed watching games on Prime more than I have Sky or TNT.
Well, I think biased, but I think Sky are great. Like, certainly Monday Night Football is amazing.
Yeah,
it is good Monday Night Football.
Like from a
never get to watch it. But.
Like obviously they brought out this in the games this week with the substitutions with the 5 things. I'm amazed that that's never cropped up across anything like having that type of thing with and having obviously the red and yellow card and stuff like that is a recent change. But
the subs is a good one actually. I like the subs.
There's some good ideas and there's been some. They've had some good pundits on there again because
what was this about substitutions in red?
So above the scoreboard, the score.
Oh, you wouldn't have seen it.
They had like the 5 lines for 5 subs. So,
right,
because I noticed it was
off
like,
every time you make.
I say that's a good.
In the commentator referenced it 2 or 3 times during the match. Like, don't forget the reason why you see these lines is for the subs.
It's interesting that because I remember that every channel you watch now, even Match of the Day, you've got a little red card block that comes on. And that's only been a thing for 10 years or so, maybe even less.
Yeah.
So that's it's an innovation thing. I reckon that could catch on. Cause
it was a bit like a timeout in NFL, when that disappears and use a timeout. It was like that, but for subs. And I thought it was good personally.
But going back to the app idea, and obviously you've reset a decker, you can only do that because you're not in America watching it. That's no reason that you couldn't say to an American fan, so someone like Shade, who's obviously involved in the channel and stuff, there's 135 quid.
It is for the MLB one.
But most of the countries abroad get those games anyway. That's
true. Like,
no, but I know, but
that's how unscrupulous people get a hold of dodgy streams and watch these kickoffs.
Even that's only because the Premier League have struck up deals with like Dazzle Optus. So if they didn't do it and they said, right, we'll stick with BT, TNT and Sky in the UK or whatever channel, Discovery in it, they want TNT. And then for the overseas market, we'll do an app. We'll have it all like what Game Pass is or what the MLB app is. And I can't see how they would fail to make money on that. Not just for, expats. You have people who are like, there's loads of people from over here that live in like Europe or live in America, Canada, Australia, whatever. Loads of, and the whole thing with this tournament that played in America last summer series was to kind of, it was an advert for the Premier League one, basically. So you got Newcastle, Chelsea, Villa, Brighton, whatever it was, Palace. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, because I think they'd probably make more money selling. Even the casual football fans, you haven't got to be a Newcastle fan. You could be a Real Madrid fan from Kentucky or something. Again, like, it's 130 quid. You pay that for you get every Premier League game. You get all these documentaries. You get access to this, that, the other. You go, I am paying that.
Well, I think for a team that's not on the telly much, it's unbelievable. Because let's be fair, we're on the telly every 5 minutes. We're never off it, to be honest. So to us, in the grand scheme of things, other than the odd 3 p.m. one, we don't see. But for a team that's not on Sky very often, they may feel like they're not on very often. It's a great option for them. And I do think within the next 10 years, we'll see it.
I think the EFL tried it with that iFollow thing, haven't they? I don't know how well that does, but you can watch
is that still going?
Yeah. You can watch any game. And the thing that includes Saturday 3 o'clock, so I don't know exactly how
it was expensive, though, I think, wasn't it?
Was that a drawback? Was it? I don't know.
Sunderland fans were watching it was like £10 a game or 20 quid a game or something. So it was, and because I think he paid $14.99. They were playing Crew at home. And he was like, Jesus, I'm paying a lot of money to watch Crew. You know what I mean? So, but good question.
And I think to your point, the teams that aren't on Sky a lot are probably the ones that aren't playing very well or aren't involved in.
We were on Sky when we were shite as well.
I think they just wanted to see them
get a hiding.
Yeah. There will be teams out there that feel they're not on Sky very often, whereas I feel we're on all the time.
Yeah,
personally,
we are on a lot, but that is
because
we've been playing well.
That's what big news.
So let's have a quick look at some of the other questions. And Scott says, thoughts on the leak today that the away top next season is going to be based on the burgundy and blue kit from the 90s. Is it too soon after the Puma one, which is something that we've mentioned in the past?
Puma one was an easy win. That was the second season back up, so that was 18, 19. So that's still 7, 8 years ago. No, it's not.
5.
5, yeah.
5 years. Yeah. But it'll be 6. It'll be 6 come next season.
I just think it's a bit of lazy. It's a lazy option. in my opinion.
It's a bit.
It's a seller, though, isn't it?
It'll sell.
Oh, of course.
It'll certainly
Right.
sell.
Yeah,
Well, sell as a sponsor.
Jeez.
Aye.
They could sell. They could sell. They could. It's Adidas business. They could sell. They could literally put anything they wanted and it'll sell.
Well, whenever people do a mock-up or when we have a new kit, everyone does a mock-up of the Granda colour kits, the brown ale or the blue star, and without fail, it happens every time. Our WhatsApp group, and Scott's made most of them. How many times have you seen like the burgundy and blue or the white one? Because apparently the third kit's going to be not necessarily a take on the 99 and 2000 one, but it's the Adidas equipment thing, so it's white, green, and black. So
Well, it's the teal is the signature
teal.
EQT colour.
Yeah. And it looks nice when the kind of it's mock-ups that I've seen, so it's not as if it's anything like the finished product. But the thing that Scott shared, I've only had a very quick look at it when we got in the studio there. It doesn't necessarily say that it's going to be hooped. It's just the colour scheme is going to be. If I've read it right,
It said it was going to be inspired by it.
Well, the one where, ironically, one that was sold quite a bit yesterday, when Martin scored that goal at White Hart Lane, that was burgundy, that blue and gold, 2006-07 away kit.
Trying to picture it. Oh, with the
it had like a blue,
it had like
a
the
red
centre
sleeves.
bit. Yeah,
it was
I'm with you now.
Team Geist template from 2006-07. So that
was the old grey matter there. Remember that one?
The original, Mark.
That one's a lovely one. Like that one's a nice one. Like that is lovely.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's a lovely. It is a nice kind of colour scheme. It worked so well. And the Puma one, I thought, from the Rondon season, what was that? 18-19 was a nice looking kit. They did it. The Puma did it really well.
Was lovely.
Gosh, so if they do it, I've got absolutely no
doubt. Was it
the
125 year one?
No, that was the season before.
Was that black?
The away was it was blue with dark blue shoulders. It's kind of speckled dark blue stripe going down the sleeves. I think we wore the black one at Swansea. I think where do we wear that blue one? It was blue with dark blue, like a light blue with dark blue shorts and dark blue kind of features down the sleeves. I think the socks were light blue. It was quite a nice kit. The third was black. The third was a black on black.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
with the gold 188 black on black action. Yeah, but the blue one was it was all right. Like it was a bit kind of retro looking. I thought the colour scheme of it.
I just hope if they do it, cream, guys, cream
instead of white.
Cream can't be white. Everything, all the little bits has to be cream. The shorts were, they were beautiful. The shorts on the
like denim. Did you have a pair?
Oh, I did.
I got mine from
absolutely.
I got mine from. There was a little kind of hut at Newcastle Airport in departures. I was going to Mallorca and I had the shirt already, and I bought the shorts and I think the socks from there. The socks I got there ended up getting used by a gentleman. But the shorts were really heavy.
Yeah, they were
really heavy, like denim, almost like I loved it. It was a lush kit that. But here we are saying, I hope it's like that, and thinking like, God, I hope do a good job.
Oh yeah, of course. I just think, I don't know if it's one of these where you just think, I seen that one coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? But I don't want to be negative. Christ, I don't know why I'm being so negative. It'll be lovely, no doubt about it. It'll be great.
So what I'm quite excited about, and this is going to be sad as someone who'll be 42 when the kit comes out, is that it's going to have the stripes going right away down the sleeve. Adidas stripes.
So they'll have to have a little gap, won't they?
For the do what Man U done this year with
the sponsor on the other side.
Still got the stripes going from like the same as we did for the yellow one in the championship. So another thing that's come out in the last few days is that they're going to re-release a classic in long sleeve, like so.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
I thought you straight away. Fly with Jen.
I did.
How that'll fly with because it'll likely be an alcohol sponsored one for a Saudi owned club that might not be very popular over in Riyadh, like, but
yeah, is what it is. Next question.
Goalkeepers.
Oh, hello.
So,
what, the kit or the actual goalkeepers?
Oh, goalkeeper kits. That's a whole.
Is that what you mean?
Topic, sorry.
No. Actually, the templates for next season are quite nice. I think that's ones I had a peek of them last week.
Get the time bridge
keeper tops. I love the keeper top Dubravka was wearing yesterday.
Oh, the pink one.
The pink one.
It's dead nice.
It's fantastic.
I think it's sold out as well. I had a look on the website when the
it's because it was £25 the other week. I did tell you.
I didn't have it now.
I was that miserable watching him. I didn't even see what kit he had on.
That was the pink. It's beautiful.
It's like a cerise, isn't it? It's very vibrant.
If my son's watching, I haven't bought him it for Christmas.
Santa might bring it though.
He might bring it, yeah. But no, on the subject of goalkeepers, so obviously it's been quite the topical topic so over the last couple of days since Everton and Sunday, with Dubravka coming back in, and time for a Decker stat here, because I've got a half a stat that I read earlier and probably can't remember it properly. But I'm sure that since the end of September or at some point in September until Everton, we'd only conceded 7 league goals, and we've conceded 7 league goals in
since
2 games. Like a stat, something like that.
I don't think that's just down to the goalkeeper, though. I mean,
no,
certainly the first 2, I think all 3 at Goodison. I don't think you can point the finger at what was the third goal like.
Well, maybe you can it, but there's a lot of people that have and
they're wrong.
Well, I had my say last week that I think the drop off between Pope and Dubravka is huge. I said that, and I'm not just saying it because I've conceded 7
goals.
It's
good with his feet, though.
I did say on Monday last week that didn't I said
because
I know best you, and that's absolutely fine that you thought, and still maybe is. I just think there's a huge drop off there, and I said that from last week. However, on the Everton game, the more and more I watch that second goal back's a strange one, where it's straight at him, but it's eventually straight at him, but he just dives out the way. It's as if he's like, you're in control of him, you press the wrong button. The third one, I thought you could have done better, definitely. The goals on Sunday, I think the first one, him and Lascelles at the blame. I definitely think you should do better at that front post where the cross comes over. The third one's diabolical, and the fourth one, he's a blame for the Son for the penalty.
I think I've been very harsh for the first one. I agree with the third one. He's really poor. You kind of caught, we were saying earlier, between coming for the ball and not.
Oh, yeah.
And in the end, he's less than ineffective for the third one. The penalty, it took me a couple of watches earlier, but I think he probably should be on his toes a bit more.
100%.
When Son's touched a bit heavy, maybe he's not expecting it, so he should do better for those. But I think the first one, I don't think you can blame him at all for that. Ironically, the second one was a bit weird because it kind of, I don't know if it's just a camera angle, but it looked to go in the middle of the goal, and then it ends up in the corner because of the angle of where it's been hit that close and stuff like that. But I still think he's fine. He could have done better for the third yesterday. The same as how many goals this season we said Pope could have done better with. There's been a few.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you go back a couple of weeks and people were slagging Pope off. You've mentioned again, even when we've been winning games, when Pope's got the ball at his feet or when he's kicking it, there's moans, there's groans, there's people holding the breath. We're just at a situation where people are just picking on every little thing, and as soon as something doesn't go the way you want it to go, then it just blows up and everybody goes wild. And like Scotty's made a great point in the comments there that Dubravka hasn't played any football in a very long period of time for us. We know he went out on loan to Man United, which
didn't play much there either, really.
No, he had 1 game ironically in the not the Coca-Cola Cup, but the League Cup, when
the cup tie,
which then got him cup tied, and we know what happened there. But it's again, I've seen loads of comments from people saying he's never been the same keeper since he went there. Well, it's because he went to Man United. He doesn't want to be here. We've even got comments in the comments tonight around that he's not right since Man United.
I don't think he's been the same since, and I like him, and I think he's a safe pair of hands, if you pardon the expression, for the most part. But he conceded a goal. Was it in the European Championships or the World Cup?
Oh God!
Where he had it kind of went over his head, and it was real awful.
It was a shocker,
and he doesn't seem to have, similar to Karius, doesn't appear to have really recovered, or the perception is hasn't recovered from the Champions League final when he dropped a couple against Real Madrid. Dubravka doesn't feel like he's been quite the same keeper since then. I still do like him, and I think it will be a mistake getting De Gea in, because I don't think he's a great deal better at the minute. I think he has been. I mentioned this last week. I think De Gea at one point was probably the best keeper in the world, or certainly one of them. But his drop-off's been quite stark. I think at Man United, it put his mind a bit of Joe Hart when he started to really lose the plot of Man City. And he's obviously at Celtic now, winning leagues and stuff like that, so he's been resolved. But I think obviously it looks like, there's talk of Pope not getting a squad number for the second half, not a squad place for the second half of the season, such as the extent of his injury. They don't know.
Awful. It's awful.
It's half a season. And feasibly, that could be it for Pope and Newcastle. Because that could be, if they do in January think, right, we need to get a keeper and we'll buy such and such, and they're a young first-teamer, rake a goalkeeper, then Pope becomes a sub.
Yeah, well, you could well be accelerating here on an option that was maybe forecasted for 18 months down the line, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. You remember when we signed Pope, right? And I think a lot of people, probably myself included, is Pope really an upgrade on Dubravka? And within about 15 minutes, I knew, actually, it's just some upgrade. Like,
he's brilliant. Pope
is absolutely brilliant.
But that again goes back to, because you held Dubravka in high regard for the way he'd performed from us. And I just feel a lot of people are forgetting that.
I think a lot of the Dubravka thing comes from the fact that he left for a bit, because when Pope signed, he kind of is perceived to have spat his dummy out a bit, which I think probably is what happened. So I think there's a little bit of, is it resentment over how he behaved at the time? Which, I mean, you're going to get that. Like, but
it's funny, isn't it? It's a good point though, because it's funny to think that a player has been deemed by Howe to like, no, you're not part of the squad, right? And you're out. To then come back and now be starting for it. It does surprise us a bit.
Though, he did say that
he
didn't necessarily want him to leave. It was Dubravka that wanted to go.
Yeah.
In fairness to him, he thought he was going there to be pushing for the first team and to get more opportunities. Which
and for a Slovakian, Slovakian isn't Martin Dubravka, to go for who's got no real ties, no bindings in Newcastle, other than the fact that he signed forward 5, 6 years ago. If you're going, if Man U come in for you, you're going, I go on then. I'll have a go at that. It doesn't matter if one of us was playing for like, I don't know, let's say Metz or Nantes or Marseille, not even Marseille, and like PSG came off, you're going like, PSG, Champions League and all that.
I think as well as he wasn't playing first team, so it did seem like I think I sat here and said it, I can't blame him like for wanting to go.
Yeah.
Like, my night's coming for you, got European football, see you later. I will just reiterate what I said last week. I just feel the drop off from him to him is huge. I really do. And that might be mean very harsh on him. And I'm certainly not going to be magnifying glass every performance because I'm not that harsh on people. But I just think it's a big drop off.
Well, that's what leads us into the questions that we've been sent in around the goalkeeping situation. So first one is from Chris Leeson. And his shout is, should Karius come in for Dubravka?
No. He shouldn't.
That's very short and sweet and black and white.
No, why? What's Karius done to make him in the past? When was that Champions League final against Real? It was pre-COVID, wasn't it? So it must be 2019, maybe 5 seasons ago. What's he done in that time to make you think, oh, he's better? Like that's pretty much the entire time Dubravka's been here. Nah, absolutely not. I don't think Karius is an awful goalkeeper, but I think Dubravka's done more recently and done better recently.
Well, I wouldn't play Karius. I wouldn't. But it's almost a flip of a coin, I think, in regards to...
Really?
Well, Dubravka's done now either. Like,
well, he has
7 goals he's conceded, but maybe I'm being... It's 2 games
in the last two games
of football.
I take that, but in the period of time, if you go back, over that length of time before Pope came, like you weren't...
He was often my best.
You wouldn't think they're sitting there thinking, "No, Dubravka, we need to get shot of him
before the takeover." Like during again,
as you've said, you didn't think Pope would come in and be an upgrade over him. So you must have had in your mind that Dubravka's a good keeper and he's good enough to be playing there regularly.
I definitely did, but
that's
we've all said De Gea was the best goalkeeper in the world. Now we wouldn't even have him. Everyone has a sell by did, and in my opinion, I think Dubravka's is up. I think it is.
I'm convinced it is. I think like that after the takeover. They had that 6 months where they started winning games. Leeds was Ellen Road was the first one. Then through to Arsenal last game season. I don't remember too many times people were going like, "We need a goalkeeper." Like he's not good enough. I don't.
No. But I agree. I do agree with that. And I'll reiterate what I said before: is when then Pope came in, because you're right. Nobody said we need a goalkeeper. He's shy. Yeah. No, nobody said that. Everyone thought Dubravka's. Listen, we'll upgrade with him, but that's the last thing on the list. We need this, and we need a striker, and we need a midfielder, all this shit. But then when Pope played, we were like, oh, actually, hang on a second. That's why we've got a new goalkeeper.
Oh, Pope is brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Like,
and that's what I mean by like the confidence people had when Pope got injured. Oh, it's fine. Like, if there's any way we could have lost another player, it would be goalkeeper because we've got him. I keep going back to that reaction that I had of seeing Pope compared to him, and I thought, Jesus Lord, like it's. And I didn't think we needed Pope. I didn't think we needed another goalkeeper. And that's the. I hope I'm explaining myself right. That's the vast that I think there is. And I hope he plays on Wednesday. And unbelievable. Of course, Christ almighty. I want him to save every single shot that comes at him. I just think that in January, that will be I honestly think they'll accelerate if they've got an option in mind, by the way. Because if he's out for the rest of the season, Pope, honestly, man, that's huge, man. That is huge. I think Pope, 7 to 8 points he could gain you. I really feel that Pope on his own, maybe more actually.
Well, we sat and said that last week, didn't we?
Maybe more.
I wonder who would come in if
I don't
hypothetically know. I don't know enough about kind of the depth of goalkeepers. Talk of Ramsdale a week or two ago.
Well, the name that won't go away, and Chris Curry's asked the question is, who? De Gea.
I don't think he's an awful keeper. I would love the idea that De Gea, if we'd signed him, I love the thought of him coming in and being 2016, 2017 David De Gea. If that, I'm picking a number from the fairly recent past, but he was phenomenal. You're not Man U's, and I know it wasn't the most trophy laden decade for Man United when he was there, but you don't play for them for that long and be that reliable. He's Spain's first choice keeper for a long time without having some. He was a fantastic, like a wonderful goalkeeper.
Didn't he?
But he did, and it wouldn't take long. Mark my words, if we got him, it wouldn't take long. It'd take a couple of games, and something might happen, and people are going like, "Oh no, shit." People need to grow up.
Now, to answer to try to put me actual thinking cap on here is David De Gea. Is he better than Dubravka and Karius? I'm going to have to say yes. That's what no. If you ask us the question now and I'll answer, I'm going to say yes. However, the caveat to all that is he hasn't played any first team football or any football at all for a while.
And if he's that good, why is he not being snapped up?
Well, I think the reason for that is the wage demand. If the wage demand is 325 and 350 here, well,
yeah,
thanks for trying.
If it's 200, 250, that's a lot.
I know,
you've got signing on fees on top of that, agents fees and all that. It's not like, oh, we'll get him for now.
I know there'll be people who go, I've got all the money in the world, but while now the restrictions that we have, and I think giving 350 to him, if it is that or 300, that's just not plausible.
It's the equivalent. The way I look at it is it's the equivalent of bringing in two very good players who are wanting the same wage combined as what he wants in a week.
But that position's so important.
In fact, even probably three, realistically.
I know, but
that's up to 100 grand a week on three players.
I'll spin it back round then. So, so let's say Pope, as best he's referenced a little bit, that we may not get a squad number, and unfortunately is out for the rest of the season. Are you happy with them two to see you all the way through, or do you think we should go in the market and buy another one? Bestie?
I'm happy with those two.
Okay, Mark?
The only niggle I have is Pope's done his shoulder before.
I agree. Yep.
Does he come back the same keeper? That's me worry. If you can guarantee me he comes back with the form that he's shown and can hit the ground running, then I've got no hesitation to chuck him back in there.
Oh, so then that means keep the two we've got until May. See you later.
Keep there. But
scares 11 hell out of me.
It's
I don't know. Maybe
the Pope shoulder thing. He's done that shoulder before, but it's not quite the same thing. I think Eddie Howe said it's, even though it's a dislocate, it's a weird one because it seems to all intents and purposes to be identical. But Howe said, "Oh no, it's a different part of the shoulder."
I think it's
think it was possible, but
I do think it's very troubling for a goalkeeper to get that injury, isn't it?
Oh, massively so. And we see how he got it.
Yeah, it was off nothing.
It was. I mean, he's got to go for it because obviously he doesn't know the share is going to block the shot, but it didn't. It looks so innocuous. Yeah. It's not like he's kind of really hit the ground with a massive force. Or I think you might have said that last week. It's something he'll have done that. He'll have gone down like that on his left hand side thousands of times.
I honestly think
thousands,
billions in his career. I really do.
And it's just this one happens to have been it's just been like the perfect angle to dislodge his shoulder. So yeah, but I'm okay with. If the Dubravka was knackered as well, there was a point during one of the games where Everton where I thought, oh God, he's going to go down here.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Scotty's mentioned that apparently he's carrying an injury as well.
Dubravka, well, that report
the rumour today.
Yeah, that's a bit lazy. I'm not so sure because if he's carrying injury, then surely Carrier should be starting. If he's carrying a shoulder injury, you've already got one goalkeeper out for the season with a shoulder injury, and he's carrying one. I'll stick him in.
That's what makes me think they might go for one if he is injured.
Yeah, you've got it then, haven't you? There
was a report. Someone put a thing on Twitter today. I don't know if there's any truth in it. Like about what was it? What's saying? It might have been that actually about the injury, and then they're going to be looking at someone.
I put it.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. I've seen that today,
and I don't know. I don't believe
it was Jordan Cronin. I think
if he doesn't concede,
Wales, I think.
If he doesn't concede 7 goals, that story's not even
exactly.
It's because we've conceded 7 goals. And to reference your point, since September we've only conceded 7 league goals. We've conceded 7 in a week, in 4 days or something.
It's hypothetical. I mean, how many would have conceded with Pope in? I mean,
none. I'm joking.
He scores a hat trick. No, that's the thing. I mean, and we'll never know because he wasn't. But I don't think it's a big difference. I think we'll still lose both games when they Pope and goal. I don't think there's anything Dubravka can do about. I've not seen the second and third. In fact, obviously, any Everton goals since because.
Well, I don't think you're saving the first one. That's for damn sure.
Dwight McNeil, wasn't it? But the mistakes. The third one at White Hart Lane. The third one at Tottenham. I'll say, he should do better there. But we've seen Pope do similar. He did it at West Ham. Very, very similar where West Ham broke and he's kind of in the wrong spot and he's give away. I think just passed it around him. And the goal, the header Hernandez scored for PSG, then 4-1. 4-1. But he's kind of a little bit neither here nor there as well. Like, so I don't think it's. I don't think there's too much you can point at. That's what we went for.
Sorry.
Dubravka about the
Same, she can be number one.
Was that the Machine Gun Kelly thing again?
No, it actually wasn't her. No, it's not a different girl.
Sean's just mentioned that. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was Jesus. Why stop sending so many comments and you keep moving them?
Which one? Let's go.
El Grande Salmon says another name that was mentioned over today was Tottenham's keeper Hugo Lloris. He was obviously.
Is this the Championship Manager version of Hugo Lloris? Or the Pro Evo, sorry. He's another one who I think it's probably between him and De Gea, but he's got a mistake in him. He's still up in the World Cup final when the Mandzukic took the ball off him and hadn't emptied net. Granted, the 1-4-2, but Lloris has been another one. He was honking against us when we obviously were put.
I've never rated him.
Oh no, I've really did rate him for a long time. But he's another one that I don't even. Has he got a club? Is he another one that's without?
Wouldn't take him. No, I'm not sure he is. I think he might have a club. Could be wrong there, but I wouldn't take him anyway.
He's another one that I think. Well, it's gone. Maybe it's Petr Cech. He's away playing ice hockey now, so
I think it's people are clutching at straws because of what's happened in the last two games, and
so overreaction. Like
listen, time will tell.
It doesn't happen, bestie.
Time will tell.
Very sensible approach, very measured.
Time will tell. I hope we are not sitting here next week going, Christ, another howlers or this is that and that. Of course, I want to beat Milan, I want to beat Fulham, and everything's fine. But I do agree that there is an overreaction, even though I don't believe he's the answer. I'm more patient maybe than most.
Yeah. I think he needs time, get his confidence back. A couple of saves, it can be very different.
He made some good ones as well, can I add?
Good hands.
Good
feet as well.
He made had a bet on, I think it was over 6 saves, and he's back coming, so he made saves. There was one he made, could have been 5, but a great save. He made himself really big with his right foot.
Yeah,
that was a brilliant save. Honestly, it really was. And again, of course, it's just in moments I just feel.
It's that thing. That's what he's there to do, though, isn't it? Like,
well,
if that goes in, it's his fault. I've kind of not to sound too much like Roy Keane, but I remember the Tim Krul game again at Tottenham. We had his whole where he made like 12, 13 saves. But if any of those go in, it's his fault.
As well. That's the two big games for him.
If any of those goals, any of those chances go in that game, then he's made a mistake. The saves he should be making, Krul, that one, Dubravka was an excellent save. Made himself big, but it's what he should be making. In fairness, like, But we'll be all right, man. We'll be set. When's the draw, by the way, for the last 16 of the Champions League and/or Europa League?
I think
is it this week? Would it be the last?
I thought it might be Friday. I thought I could be wrong there though.
I know it's December normally, so it can't be too far.
Somebody will let me know in the comments when it is. But yeah, obviously it's the last game week this week, so technically they'll know who's through and be able to draw it. But the games don't restart until next year anyway. So
I think it's March. I think it's a good gap, which is a blessed relief for us. Like, although we've got Chelsea next week in the League Cup, and then I think we've still got Saturday or weekend midweek until the Sunderland game now, and maybe beyond.
Christmas and New Year is always a massively heavy time with fixtures, with the pitches the way that they are, with too much turkey in the trimmings,
all the sausage meat and that. Yeah, it's
very fattening.
Good time.
Heavy meal.
But
so, last question that we'll dive into.
Not goalkeeping.
January signings. Neither of you are looking to sign a goalkeeper.
Nope. Oh, 100%. I am. Yeah, absolutely. I've just sat here and slagged them off for an hour. No, not slagged them off. But I honestly believe if Pope is out, we need another goalkeeper. That's my honest opinion.
I think, and I know like they tend not to be as knee-jerk with stuff like that. I think how the next 3 weeks is it 11 days? So next week, how the next 3 weeks goes.
Nearly Christmas.
The week
in 2 weeks today, isn't it? Christmas.
Yes. How the next 3 weeks goes, because that means New Year's Day is 3 weeks today. That informs what they do with regard to the goalkeeper in January. If Dubravka chucks a few in, doesn't really settle, then you're thinking like, it's probably for the best. But then obviously they'd rather not, because you think they'd want to put the money into cover it a different position. Maybe he's upgrading something. Do you want a new striker? Do you want wingers? We're desperate for wingers at the minute. Gordon's not that. Murphy's injured. Miggy's not that. Like we're crying out for a bit more pace.
Have you seen that coming from me, mate? Brody. He's put it on there. He's put Decker, would Dubravka need a wall for a free kick 25 yards out?
I missed that one. There it is.
That's a good one, mate. That's a good one.
things being as they are, I don't think they do, but 3 weeks' time. So if I'm assuming we're not doing a Christmas Day or New Year's Day show,
I'd be surprised.
like we could be sitting here in like 2 podcasts time, going like, "Christ, we're desperate. I hope we get."
Hey, and everything changes, right? We could be. He's right. We could be sitting in 3 weeks' time, and I'm going, no, do you know what? It's a broadcast great. Broadcast fine. We'll get through, but I just have this horrible feeling. I hope I'm wrong. That it's not good. Like, it's not good.
So, 18th of December is the next draw
Monday
that we've got.
Oh, okay.
To go through.
So that'll be
and the European Games resume in February. So
that'll be the day. That's next Monday. So is that night time or it's normally
during the day?
Yeah.
But the ceremony's only like 4 hours.
God, that's proper deals, isn't it?
Yeah.
So January, where I was going with that one is Liam asked one realistic player for us to sign in January.
Calvin.
I know the best he's going to say it.
Calvin Phillips. Tomorrow.
Yeah. Calvin Phillips for you. Not the goalkeeper then?
The problem is I haven't got a name for you for a goal. That's the problem. I can't say a name.
There's been a couple that have been mentioned in the comments that seem to be the main ones that people are going with.
Well, so, I think Pep's got interviewed, didn't he? I don't know if you've seen that, and he was very, very
I've seen that.
Very apologetic. But I love what he said about his attitude and how he's been, and I couldn't ask for any more of him and all this.
I wonder if he's just saying that so people go like, "Oh yeah, we'll buy."
Well, hey, maybe. I just think he's quite honest. Him. I just imagine Pep going, "Oh, he's a dick." That's why I'm not playing him. But he apologized. I'm sorry to him. I kind of play him.
Yeah. I'll tell you who I would like, and it might not be realistic. In fact, it's probably totally unrealistic. But Jared Bowen.
Well,
he would cost some money.
I would love him.
I think he'd come, but he would cost a lot of money. But I think he's a fantastic player.
It's unbelievable.
And if you get him, then you're finishing not top. I mean, not this season.
I don't know if Danny would want to move. Would he? Would she?
Danny, what?
No? His missus.
I don't know who his missus is. Who's his missus like?
Danny Dyer.
Oh, aye. I know.
Is that right?
Yeah. Aye. Money talks, man.
Yeah.
That would be
an amazing
get down to rock here. Sure.
Quite ironic though that we could have had him playing in black and white a few seasons ago if things had turned out differently.
Did Bruce have him in Hull? Am I right in thinking that?
Well, that's when we were massively linked with him. Was when he was available from Hull, and he ended up going to West Ham.
I think he's a wonderful player. I think he's the level that he would cost a lot of money, but I think he'd be interested if you get in touch with Moyes and say, by the way, and it gets to him, he's gone like, Newcastle. I think, Newcastle. Newcastle. Is that right? I might have a little drive up the M1. But yeah,
he definitely wouldn't.
I can't really think who else. I mean, Calvin Phillips notwithstanding, because I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
Well, neither of those names are the one that I was expecting to come out of your mouth.
I love Ruben Neves, but I think that's written off now. Like, so I'm thinking a winger. We're desperate. I was just saying, we're so just through injuries more than out else. I mean, obviously Harvey Barnes coming back is going to be a big one when he gets up to speed, and Murphy as well. But Murphy's a little while away yet. But we've said at the start of the season that we'll need it to upgrade on Miggy, which I'm a Miggy Appreciation Society member. But I think you've got to kind of improve every position if you want to progress.
Well, obviously, of course, it's it's not a editor. But what in terms of a position, then, what is the position that we need to strengthen? Then, do you feel? Because I agree, every player you can upgrade our position, but where do you think we need?
It feels really harsh. I want to say centre forward, and that's not meant to be a slight on Wilson or Isaac, but I just think that we need that strength and depth there, or as a competition for places. Or Isaac isn't purely a centre forward; he can, and that's another thing. If you get another centre forward in, Isaac can then go on the left, on the because I think
gives you options.
He does.
I think I absolutely agree. I think centre midfield is very important, and centre forward is.
Yeah.
I just think centre midfielders will lose in Tonali. We're relying on a 17-year-old kid here to come in and do a job, and that you're not going to get anywhere. No offense to Miley, I love Miley, but
albeit because of injuries.
Yeah, of course.
Will
comes back, Longstaff comes back. I get that.
Anderson as well. I think. Well, let's just raid West Ham in that case, and for these strikers, let's go for Bowen and
Antonio. Your mate,
Antonio.
Then the podcast
as well.
It'd be great.
We'll be doing soon.
It is for me that you're either going for that third choice backup striker.
Yeah.
Of somebody that come in, give you that option, because
tough sell.
Isaac's knackered over, and that's why you've got to go for. You're at either end of the spectrum, aren't you? You're at a young striker who's wanting to improve his game and come through. Etikite has been mentioned a hell of a lot of times, and
I still don't know if
obviously he's coming there. You're then looking at the opposite end of things, somebody who's knocking on. Antonio's not getting any younger, but he still gets a regular game for West Ham. Is he going to take that, not getting as many games, but, something around there? Or you go and get a new striker, somebody that is going to go in there and is going to be your number 9, which you run the risk of upsetting Wilson. He drops down the pecking order and becomes
most expensive player in history. But
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so,
I still think,
I know you can play wide.
Run the risk of upsetting Wilson. As much as I love Callum Wilson, I would rather have someone come in who was better than him than someone who was at the tail end of their career that was, you want to improve, didn't you?
But his record is amazing.
Wilson's unbelievable. I was going to say he has been as if he's not anymore. He is a wonderful centre forward. Like, he's one of my favourites ever in Newcastle in my lifetime. There's been talk of Florian Wirtz as well from Leverkusen, who I think I don't know a great deal about, but what I've read about him kind of feels like he's got a bit of the kind of can go on the wing, can go attack midfield and get about.
How likes that, doesn't he? How likes a player that can play multiple positions, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he mentions that a lot of times, and a few players
which is why Gordon was the one that was
right
was
across the
purchased.
front.
That's why, again, I've just said this. I think that's why Joe Willox is popular with him as he is, because he can kind of go right across the. Him and Joe Linton. I've said this loads. When him and Joe Linton would dovetail towards the back end of last season, the season before even. And it worked so well.
And we're missing that. We missed that a lot of times this season.
He's intelligent. He's quick. He's a good finisher. He's just a good footballer.
We're missing his
better
energy.
than I thought he was.
Yeah. We're missing his energy. Definitely.
The irony with Willock was when he was banging all the goals in the end of his first season here, he wasn't actually playing that well for the most part.
No,
and then it was kind of when he stopped scoring, but he became a better. It's a weird kind of paradox, almost like. But I'd love. I think the most important at the moment is probably a winger, but I think if everyone's fit, it's a centre forward.
It's not a bad show.
And I think in the summer, that's when we'll be looking at a nice, shiny, depending again, European competition. And that's another thing with this week in mind, we kind of want Man U to go through. And for us to go through as well, I mean, Man U have got to beat Bayern Munich, even go and finish third. But just for this fifth place in the Premier League, because at the minute, I think the Premier League's second in the kind of table for which teams are performing the best, which countries are performing the best. So we need to go through, even if we just go through the Europa League, we're still participating for that. But how well we do this Wednesday night kind of dictates what we're doing next season a little bit. And more than just 3 points that you get. So you're supposed to get for the group stage. But it's a bit of a there's quite a bit of import on this game Wednesday night.
It is big game coming up. And it could be a defining moment in Newcastle United's history, the week, our lives, and things could look much, much rosier than they do after the last couple of games. Or it could just be equally as bad. Let's hope it's the former and not the latter.
Like I said, there was a thing shared last week. After the first Champions League match week, we were the best team in the country for form. Or in the Premier League, certainly. We've only lost 2 games. Lost them badly, but we've only lost 2 games. We're all right, man. We're a good side.
We're all right.
Yeah, we're going to beat Milan.
And we're going to beat Milan. That is the positivity that we are looking for on the Always Smiling Faces podcast. Yes, the answer you're looking for is yes, bestie. You do.
I do. Yeah.
You feeling it, Decker?
Yeah. Just about.
I'm less bullish than I was 7 days ago.
I give you that.
Crowd's got a big part to play for me. And I think with everything that's gone on, how important the game is, Wednesday night, under the floodlights at St. James,
we'll do the job.
It's there.
I think we certainly can beat them. Whether or not we do, the draw's enough to keep with Europe. So I think Dortmund beat PSG, though. That's the thing.
Could do.
I think Dortmund will beat PSG. So because PSG's away form has been terrible in the Champions League this season. So it's kind of incumbent on us to try and win, because if we do that, then we're in the last 16 in the Champions League. So
lot to pay for, to play for. But thank you for joining us tonight. It has been a couple of depressing results that we've had, but we've still had fun. We've enjoyed it. We've talked about it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it tonight as well. El Grande Salmon, if you think I'm falling for that one, you've got another thing coming. But Dan, that is a brilliant follow-up to it. So fair play on that one. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed us, give it a little thumbs up. Share us to your social media. Invite a friend, invite a family member to join us this Christmas. If you want to be a member, be a member. Give your friends and family a gift of the GallowgateShots YouTube and podcast this festive season. buy them a membership. Love you. Good night.
Wow.